Money. It's something we all use, but very few of us truly understand. Why is it that some people save effortlessly while others spend without thinking? Why do we sometimes make risky investments even when we know better? Hello and welcome to Evelyn Kingsley Finance. I'm Evelyn and I'm so glad you're here. Today we're diving into a fascinating topic, the psychology of money, why we spend, save, and invest the way we do. It's not just about numbers, it's about emotions, habits, and the way we think. Before we begin, remember, this video is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. Now, let's get started. Money. It's more than just paper, coins, or numbers on a screen. For many of us, money represents freedom, security, opportunity, and sometimes even stress or fear. But have you ever wondered why people handle money so differently? Why do some of us save every penny while others spend freely without a second thought? Why do investors sometimes take huge risks while others keep their money hidden under the mattress? This is where the psychology of money comes in. Our financial decisions aren't always rational. They are shaped by emotions, beliefs, culture, and even childhood experiences. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the fascinating world of financial psychology. We'll explore the hidden reasons behind why we spend, save, and invest the way we do, and more importantly, how understanding these behaviors can transform the way you think about your own financial life. So, if you've ever asked yourself questions like, why do I always spend more than I plan? Or, why is saving so hard even when I know I should? Stick with me until the end, because you're about to gain insights that could completely reshape your relationship with money. And one more thing, if you enjoy learning about personal finance and want to grow with us on this journey, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and hit the notification bell. That way, you won't miss any of our future deep dives into the world of money and financial freedom. When we think about money, we often imagine it as something logical, a system of numbers, budgets, and calculations. But here's the truth. Money is deeply emotional. Every decision we make with money, from buying a cup of coffee to investing in the stock market, is influenced by our feelings far more than we realize. Think about it. Why do we splurge on things we don't really need? Why do we feel guilty after shopping or anxious when checking our bank account? That's not logic, it's psychology at work. For some people, spending feels like a reward. For others, saving feels like security. And when it comes to investing, fear and greed are the two strongest forces that shape behavior. Psychologists say that money often reflects our identity and self-worth. Some people spend to show success, even if they can't afford it. Others save aggressively because they fear instability. Neither approach is purely logical. It's driven by emotion, shaped by personal history, upbringing, and even culture. Here's the key takeaway. If you want to truly understand your financial habits, you first need to understand your emotions. Once you know the why behind your actions, you can begin to make better, smarter choices with your money. And stick around because in the next section, we'll uncover how childhood experiences and family background play a surprisingly powerful role in shaping the way you think about money today. Our relationship with money doesn't start when we open our first bank account. It begins much earlier, often in childhood. Psychologists call this our money script. These are the unconscious beliefs about money that we develop based on what we saw and experienced growing up. For example, if you grew up in a household where money was always tight, you might carry a deep fear of running out of money even if you're doing well financially today. On the other hand, if you grew up in a family that spent freely without much planning, you may struggle with saving and budgeting as an adult. Money scripts can sound like little voices in our heads. I must always save, or I'll end up with nothing. Money is meant to be enjoyed, so why worry about tomorrow? Investing is too risky. Better to keep money safe in the bank. These beliefs often feel natural, but they're not always true and they can hold us back. The first step toward financial freedom is becoming aware of your money script. Ask yourself, what did I learn about money as a child? How is it still influencing me today? The good news is, money scripts are not permanent. Once you identify them, you can challenge and rewrite them to create healthier financial habits. Stay tuned, because in the next section, we'll explore why people spend money on things they don't really need, and how marketing and social influence play a huge role in that behavior. Have you ever bought something you didn't really need? Maybe a gadget, a pair of shoes, or the latest phone upgrade, only to realize later that it wasn't essential at all? If so, you're not alone. In fact, research shows that a huge percentage of our spending decisions are emotional, not practical. Marketers know this very well. That's why advertisements are not just about products, they're about emotions. Think about it. Car commercials rarely talk about the engine. Instead, they show freedom, adventure, or status. Fashion ads don't just sell clothes, they sell confidence, attractiveness, and social acceptance. These messages play directly into our psychology, making us believe that buying something will also buy us happiness or success. Social influence is another powerful factor. When we see our friends or favorite influencers buying something, we feel the pressure to do the same. Psychologists call this social proof. It creates a fear of missing out, better known as FOMO. And before we know it, we've spent money on something we didn't plan for just to keep up. Here's the important lesson. Spending is often about identity, not utility. We buy things not just because we need them, but because they represent who we want to be or how we want others to see us. In the next section, we'll flip the script and talk about the opposite: habit saving. Why do some people find saving natural and satisfying, while others struggle with it no matter how much they earn? Saving money sounds simple. Spend less than you earn and put the rest aside. But in reality, it's much harder than it looks. Why? Because saving isn't just about math, it's about mindset. For some people, saving brings a sense of comfort and control. They see their bank account growing and feel secure, almost like a safety net against life's uncertainties. These people often grew up in environments where financial stability was valued, or they experienced financial hardships that made them cautious with money. On the other hand, many people struggle with saving even when they earn enough. Why? One reason is present bias, the human tendency to value immediate rewards over future ones. It's more exciting to buy something today than to save for a distant tomorrow. Psychologists explain that our brains are wired for instant gratification, which makes long-term goals like retirement saving feel less urgent. Culture and upbringing also play a big role. In some families, saving is considered a virtue. In others, money is seen as something to be enjoyed, not stored away. Neither approach is right or wrong, but being unaware of these influences can prevent us from building healthy saving habits. Here's the key point. Saving is not just a financial decision, it's an emotional one. The way we save reflects our fears, hopes, and beliefs about the future. In the next section, we'll explore what happens when saving turns into something bigger: investing. Why do some people take big risks in the stock market while others avoid it altogether? Investing is often described as a game of numbers, charts, and strategies. But in reality, the biggest forces driving the markets are not just numbers, they're human emotions. Two emotions dominate the world of investing: fear and greed. Fear makes us panic when markets drop, leading many investors to sell at the worst possible time. Greed pushes us to chase the next big thing, convincing us to invest in something just because everyone else is. You've probably heard stories of people buying into stocks or cryptocurrencies during a boom, only to lose money when the bubble bursts. That's not bad math, it's psychology. It's the fear of missing out, FOMO, mixed with greed. Another key factor is risk tolerance. Some people are natural risk takers. They see volatility as an opportunity. Others are risk averse. They would rather keep their money in a savings account than deal with uncertainty. Neither mindset is inherently wrong, but understanding your own risk tolerance is essential if you want to make better financial choices. Psychologists also talk about loss aversion, the idea that losing money feels twice as painful as gaining the same amount feels good. This explains why many investors panic sell instead of waiting patiently. Here's the big lesson. Successful investing isn't just about picking the right stocks. It's about mastering your emotions. If you can stay calm when others are panicking and patient when others are greedy, you already have an advantage. In the next section, we'll explore how culture and society shape the way entire groups of people view money, why saving, spending, and investing habits vary so much across the world. Money doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's shaped by the culture we live in. The way we think about spending, saving, and investing is often a reflection of the values, traditions, and social norms around us. For example, in many Western countries, individualism is highly valued. People are encouraged to spend on personal enjoyment, travel, and lifestyle upgrades. Debt, like using credit cards, is often normalized as a tool for living the good life. In contrast, in many Asian cultures, there's a stronger emphasis on family and community. Saving money for the future, especially for children's education or to support parents, is seen as a responsibility. Risky investments may be less common because financial stability is often prioritized over quick gains. Even within the same country, culture can play a role. In some communities, showing wealth through luxury cars or designer brands is seen as a sign of success. In others, living modestly, even if you are wealthy, is respected and admired. These cultural values silently shape our behavior. For instance, someone raised in a culture that prizes saving may feel guilty spending on luxuries, while someone raised in a more consumer-driven culture may feel pressure to spend in order to fit in. Understanding these cultural differences is powerful because it helps us see that our financial habits are not just personal choices, they're part of a bigger social story. Up next, we'll dive into another crucial factor, the role of personality. Are you naturally a spender or a saver, a risk taker or a security seeker? Let's find out in the next section. Why do some people naturally save every penny while others spend without hesitation? The answer often lies in personality. Just as our traits influence how we make friends, solve problems, or handle stress, they also shape our relationship with money. Psychologists often use the Big Five personality traits to explain this. Conscientiousness. People high in this trait are disciplined and organized. They're more likely to budget carefully, save regularly, and plan for retirement. Extroversion. Extroverts often enjoy socializing and experiences, which can lead to higher spending on dining, travel, and entertainment. They may also be more comfortable taking financial risks. Neuroticism. Those who score high in this area may feel anxious about money, constantly checking accounts or worrying about financial security, even if they're doing fine. Openness to experience. Curious and adventurous personalities might invest in new opportunities, like startups or cryptocurrencies, but they may also struggle with consistency. Agreeableness. Generous and cooperative people often prioritize helping others. They may give more to family, friends, or charities, sometimes at the expense of their own savings. Of course, personality is just one part of the story, but being aware of your own tendencies can help you anticipate your financial strengths and weaknesses. For example, if you know you're impulsive, setting up automatic savings can protect you from overspending. In the next section, we'll explore how behavioral biases like overconfidence or herd mentality lead even the smartest people to make financial mistakes. Even the smartest people in the world make poor financial decisions not because they lack knowledge, but because of behavioral biases. These are mental shortcuts our brains take, often leading us to choices that don't serve our long-term goals. Here are a few of the most common ones. Overconfidence bias. Many investors believe they can beat the market, even when statistics show that very few actually can. This confidence often leads to risky decisions. Herd mentality. We tend to follow what others are doing. If everyone is buying a certain stock or cryptocurrency, we feel pressure to do the same, even if it's overpriced. Loss. Aversion. Losing $100 feels more painful than gaining $100 feels good. This makes us avoid risks unnecessarily or sell investments too early. Anchoring. We often rely too heavily on the first piece of information we see. For example, if a stock once traded at $200, we might assume it's cheap at $100, even if it's still overpriced. Confirmation bias. We seek out information that supports what we already believe. If we think real estate is the best investment, we'll ignore evidence suggesting otherwise. These mental traps cost people billions of dollars every year. The good news is that simply being aware of them makes you less likely to fall for them. The more you understand your own brain, the better you can guard against impulsive financial mistakes. In the final section, we'll bring it all together: how understanding the psychology of money can help you create healthier habits, reduce stress, and build a future of financial freedom. We've covered a lot in this journey, from childhood money scripts to the psychology of spending and saving, to investing emotions, cultural differences, personality traits, and mental biases. If there's one thing we've learned, it's this: money is never just about numbers. It's about behavior, emotion, and mindset. So how do we use this knowledge in our daily lives? It starts with awareness. Ask yourself, what are my personal money scripts? Am I spending to impress others or to truly add value to my life? Do fear and greed control my investing decisions? Which of my personality traits or biases are influencing my financial habits? Once you recognize these patterns, you can begin to take control. For example, if you know you're impulsive, set up automatic savings so you don't have to rely on willpower. If you know you panic when markets fall, remind yourself of loss aversion and focus on the long-term picture. Remember, financial success doesn't always go to the smartest person. It goes to the person who can manage their behavior. Money management is self-management. So whether you're just starting your financial journey or you're already experienced, mastering the psychology of money is one of the most powerful steps you can take toward financial freedom. Before we wrap up, let me remind you, everything we've shared here is for educational purposes only and should never be considered financial advice. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use a better understanding of money. And of course, hit the notification bell so you won't miss our future deep dives into personal finance, investing, and the fascinating psychology behind it all. Thank you for watching. And remember, the way you think about money has the power to shape your future. Choose wisely.